Hey Harsh,
Hi, Trudy. How are you?
doing good. I'm just gonna do a quick video check.
Okay,
Hello,
let me find you. Yeah. It's been
how
a
are
long
you?
time.
Long time.
Good. I was just talking to your very close friend. I was just texted that you'll be conducting a session with us to Ravneet, and she was very excited. She will be
I was
also trying to.
wondering how Ravs sent me a message, and then I was like, okay, now I can join the dots.
She might join us on Facebook Live.
Ah, I didn't invite her once. Untitled Chapter. How's it been? How's Scotland? Is it warm? Is it hot? Are you confident? Once it starts, it will never stop. Are you married, Harsh? Why? You're not there. Who's the husband? Yes, the other side. Who's the husband?
Of 2004.
Oh, lovely.
This used to be our old front office lab.
Yes, because it's much
We
bigger. So
had
I was
some of our
wondering.
practicals with Devashish sir here.
So this is the first floor, just near the
Yes.
stairs.
Then no. It's on to the ground floor annex building.
Oh, the annex building. Ah, okay. Yes.
Sometimes Devashish sir used to take classes there.
Yes.
I was just trying to recollect. In case you remember, we had a Viva after we came back for IT debriefing. Do you remember?
Yes, we always did.
Monty sir was taking IT deb- Monty sir was taking IT debriefing, and it's the same place, I guess. And it was including the BA degree students and the Indian degree students. We were sitting together, and the IT debriefing was happening, and he was asking about what is your learning, and you were explaining to him what you felt about the learning, and the tap with air bubbles were happening,
Can you see?
Trudy, we are 93. I think we can start now. The number will increase in time to come. I hope you're ready.
Absolutely. Go for it. Let's
Oh,
get started.
perfect. Perfect. Let's get going. All right, everybody. On this pleasing, cloudy yet warm afternoon, we are delighted to welcome everyone on board, especially the students, the colleagues, the faculties with us. Respected Director Ma'am, I'm not sure whether she has been able to log in or not. Uh, and our guest for the afternoon, Ms. Trudy Hart. She is Manager Learning and Development for Southwest Asia Intercontinental Hotels and Group. She is an alumna from 2007 batch of IM and a postgraduate with major in human resource development from Symbiosis. Uh, have nearly 1.5 decades of experience in hotel operation management and training. During her career, she has worked with McDonald's, in the Smart Group, a car. Now she is working with Intercontinental Hotel Group. Thank you, Trudy. Thank you very much for coming live with us and taking time out of your busy schedule. Welcome to the session. Ma'am is there. Ma'am, you would like to say, share your views about Trudy?
I think we have already exchanged our greetings. Yes, of course. As I would love to say, uh, the morning shows the day. I remember Trudy as a student and always spectacular, uh, different, and very, very outstanding in terms of anything, any task, any responsibilities which was assigned. Not only that, she herself created and took up responsibilities. And I think that has actually shaped her up so well in the professional industry. The attitude factor was very, very important, and that's the reason why I have also requested how it is important to have the right attitude. Which you will be, or the newcomers, you will be hearing about attitude and attitude and attitude. And I think what we understood by attitude for a hospitality professional truly personified that. And I think her success story is only a result of what she has always portrayed, extremely dynamic and focused. That's what I can say about Trudy. And her journey, as Harsh has already said, is an amazing journey. And we are looking forward to more award stories and more success stories. And she's really very popular with all those people who she has touched in her lives. And I think she's very, very well connected. Over to you, Trudy.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I have to say, I wasn't feeling the pressure till I saw ma'am on screen.
It's still there.
Absolutely still there. Reminds me of standing in front of her office. So all of a sudden the pressure came on.
I do. All of you have to say that.
And
All of you have to say that, right?
Absolutely.
Ma'am, you'll not believe it. Even when we were appointed into the student council, we were that was the time when we were most scared of you. We had the responsibility of taking the belief of the people and the management and the faculty as well, what they had on us to carry forward without letting you people down. So that was possibly one of the reason what had scared us.
I just have to point out, Trudy had the most amazing grooming standards as a student. She stood out amongst the student in terms of grooming also. Over to you.
That's true. All right,
Harsh,
Trudy.
ready to answer all the questions you have in store for me.
Yes. All right, Trudy, let's start with how about starting the question answer session with you telling us about your journey of being a humble student, as ma'am said, in the college, to an extraordinary learning and development icon.
I'll stick to the humble and I'll hold on to that for a very, very long time. I don't know about the extraordinary part, but try my best every day. So my journey, everyone knows, I'm a proud alumni of IAM. I graduated in the year 2007. And like many of you may have the question with tough times, we graduated in a very tough time. 2007 was a year of recession. but look where we all are today, and we've all made it. So not to worry on that start. It's a dynamic industry. So I graduated in the year 2007, and I joined McDonald's as management trainee. So the Park Street first outlet was blessed to be in that outlet. And if you ever went into the history of the outlet, it had its first blast in a few months. That's when I went back to ma'am and said, thanks to McDonald's, I found my love for learning and development. The reason was because in McDonald's, everything is so soundproof, but it's only through learning and development. You could make a blind man make a dish and it would come out consistently if the person had passion and someone to guide them. So that's where I found my love for L&D per se. But if you know the learning and development journey, if you ever wanted to become a training manager back in those years, you needed to have either a training experience or a training background, or you needed to have 1 year of teaching in a college. And that's when I went back, met ma'am, and she said, then go ahead and you can do teaching for 1 year. And alongside that, I started my ISTD program, which helped me to join the learning and development industry. So I did 1 year of teaching. Food and beverage was my major. So then I moved on to join Swiss Hotel Kolkata. I know it's just recently deflagged, but that's where I started my journey. Since I had a food and beverage background, I actually joined Swiss Hotel Kolkata as reservations. So that gave me a forte to understand operations from an OPRA system and helped me in my learnings throughout my journey from both an F&B perspective and from front office perspective. So once I did Swiss Hotel Kolkata, that actually gave me a platform to apply for learning and development where my passion lay. And I have to be very honest, the push came from my managers, the leaders that I had, the leaders that I reported to, and they said, you should follow your dreams. So that's when I applied for assistant manager learning and development at Accor in Bangalore, and that's how I moved to Bangalore. But the beauty of the industry is that when I applied, there were 3 positions. There was the manager, there was an assistant manager, which I applied for. And another small story there, Mr. Sandeep Mohanty was the person who referred me because it was to fill up his position. And there was an executive. So I applied and I got through. And on the day of joining, I found that the executive was doing HR tasks. So I said, aren't you a learning and development executive? And he said, yes, but I just recently moved to HR. And by the afternoon, I was told that the training manager was moving into corporate office, who's Satish Kumar, who heads L&D for Accor now. In fact, he heads the entire region as HR. He just got promoted to senior director. So he was then the training manager. And by the lunch break, I realized that the manager was gone, the executive was gone, and I was the only one in the middle, and I was recruited as assistant manager. But the beauty of the industry is that they give you the opportunity. So it comes with a yin and a yang. I was told, if you want, take up the position and we'll give you 1 year. And if you're willing to give it your heart and soul, in 1 year's time, we will promote you. And I was recruited by Mr. Srinivas Rao, who is the director of Pullman Novotel currently in Delhi. So he was my first manager then. And with a lot of guidance, with a lot of love, with a lot of concern and care, but a lot of hard work, I lived my job. And in 1 year's time, no questions asked, I was promoted to manager. I was with Accor at a unit for about 2 years. And then I was given the opportunity to apply for a corporate position. And I took up the corporate position. So I was with Accor for about 7 years in total. And it's been about 1 year, few months that I have left Accor. And I'm currently L&D manager for Southwest Asia for Intercontinental Hotel Group. So that's my journey in a gist.
Wow, such an exciting journey. Trudy, before we make the session all tech and about all complex issues, let's tell us about your memories of the college. This question actually has 2 parts. I'll come to that, the other part.
You want me to today? You want me
Go ahead. Go ahead, ma'am.
No, I said, do you want me to leave while you're discussing?
Not at all. I'm happy to say it in front of you too. I have some awesome memories and some memories that I don't think ma'am wants me to publicly say, but I think I will for the sake of everyone. My best memories are honestly Khadi Utsav. where we got the opportunity to shine, to run the entire program from the beginning to the end, to the nitty-gritties. It came with a lot of questions asked, a lot of responsibility, but it also brought about a lot of camaraderie. So Khadiyotsav is one of my best memories and something we had first year, second year, third year. I have to say the first year I was shell-shocked because I had no clue this was going to be that dynamic and that huge. And over the years, it just became bigger and better. And as a student council group, there was a lot of pressure, Harsh, like we just said, there was a lot of pressure to make sure that it was better than the year before. Every year wants to do that, right? So my fondest memories are that. My fondest memories are actually all of us in the rooftop, learning juggling, learning flaring, burning our fingers and still practicing. So since food and beverage was my forte, it was something where the girls also had to shine and it gave you the platform. So I remember being on the rooftop juggling. I remember sitting in the library and ma'am telling us to shush all the time because we were so loud. And one of my memories, which I don't think I should say, but I'll still go ahead and say, was when our entire batch was punished as third years outside because we all got expelled. We had done some naughtiness and we were not telling on who had actually done it. But now when I look back at it, the entire class, the entire batch actually said, we're not going to tell on anyone. So we all faced the brunt. And I still remember the first year students walking by and we feeling so embarrassed. But we stuck it out together. We stuck it out as a group and we said, we're not going to tell on each other. That's the funny memory that I have. And ma'am looking up from the office, and every time she looked down from the office, we would not make eye contact.
Yeah. The entire batch was made to stand in the assembly area, and that is too on that sunny afternoon.
Oh, like
all right, lovely.
First years will come and go by, and you will feel embarrassed. That was the whole point.
Including standing with bricks, because that helped me in F&B a lot. I cried the first time when I did that, but then I realized later on in life that the upper body strength really mattered. I thought it was like the army camp, but I still remember the whole thing of standing with one brick and then standing with two bricks. And that actually built. Now, when I look back at it, the first day I was like, are you sure you want to do hotel management? Are you cut out for it? But now you can join the dots and it all makes sense. But that's another memory that I have. A very fond memory now.
Oh, lovely, lovely. In the singular line, yeah, ma'am.
Trudy, very soon we will be talking about a lot of attitude to the first year students, and I think even in the third year students are quite used to us hearing about you don't have the right attitude or you need to develop the right attitude, that kind of thing. Would you define for the students, the current students who have not faced the industry brunt yet, what is the importance of attitude and what is right attitude?
The right attitude, to find a definition for me would be difficult, but I would say the right attitude is having an open mind. When you're finding it tough, don't give up. But I promise you, much later in life, like I just told you, you can join the dots and it'll all make sense. Tough times come and tough times will go. But the right attitude is that when you're going through that tough time, don't give up. The best attitude to have is that when you're going through a tough time, look around you and you'll be surprised that there are a lot of people going through a tough time. And when you look around, you will grab everything that you have and you will muster through. The beauty of a good leader is that you can all be going through a tough time together, but you can look around and say, you know what, we're going to make it through. And if you have that passion of saying that no matter what, I will get it done, it's that never say die. It's looking for positive. It's looking for a ray of hope. It's that attitude that gets you through. You may not have the answers to everything, and that's fine, right? That's what we're all here for. Every day is a learning, but don't give up. And yes, you'll have your days that are low, and you should know how to pick yourself up and make the best out of it. But never say no to anything. Everything is a learning. Take it as a learning, both the highs and the low. And the right attitude is bear it with a smile on your face, because you are here for a reason and every person has their story. But the beauty is you can make your own story. And that's having the right attitude. Just know your story, know your purpose in life.
Rightly answered, Trudy. never give up, wear your smile, and never say no. Oh, I'm sure the student will make a strong note out of this. Trudy, this question is also relating to your time you have spent in the college. How do you think the extensive class schedules? Do you remember we had the classes used to start 9 in the morning, and perhaps we used to go beyond 6, followed by the mock sessions, back-to-back assignments, spanning hours and hours of group studies in library. How do you think it has played a role in your career?
It prepares you and it gives you a seat at the table. So when you come out from school, you're very naive and you think college is going to be all fun and play. And then you get hit by the assignments, you think college I can bunk. And I have to say, I actually never bunked. I never ever bunked. Now, when I look back at it, but everyone comes to college thinking of a perception of you're going to bunk, you're going to have fun, and all of that is there. But the long hours will give you an understanding of what you're in store for, because the industry is not a 9 to 6 per se shift. It helps you be flexible. It makes you think on your feet. The assignments that you have make you think more from an analytical point of view. It helps you to put on that thinking cap of exchanging ideas, of talking with each other, seeing it from a different perspective. One book will have the same theory written in a certain way, whereas another book will project it a little bit differently. And it's how you bring both the thoughts together in your own words. So it helps you be more analytical, be more forecasting. It helps you on those aspects. And I have to say also, many a times, and Harshul, I'm sure, ma'am, I'm guessing may still do it, where we used to have those mock questionnaires, interviews with her.
Yes.
We were dead scared. I have to say that, and I say it openly till date. I was dead scared of the questions that she may ask. And everyone had this question of, it's so much of theory, but will I use it in my practical life? Because does the theory match the practical? The theory gets you into the industry, because at the end of the day, when including myself, I look at a CV now, if for your past 3 years, you have not used that time to make the best out of it, it could be something as simple as your English was not great, but did you use those 3 years to develop on your English? Or you didn't like a subject, but I just want to see, have you increased your score in that subject? Have you become better than what you used to be? And in many ways, your college life makes you who you turn out to be in the industry. It makes you a lot more flexible because you do things like Khadyotsav, you have learning events. At the same time, you're looking at extracurricular activities, which the hotel industry still does a lot of. So it prepares you in a very, very large or in a very different perspective for what the industry has in store, from the long hours to thinking on your feet to team building, but more importantly for you being the unique person that you will turn out to be in the industry, because you find who you are.
So you meant to say that all these things are basically to make a student more worthy for this industry and strong. I hope this is going down to the student as a very strong message that they need to take these things positively, and it is only to benefit them. Trudy, you are heading learning and development for Intercontinental Hotel Group for Southwest Asia, which I believe it's a pretty large region. How's your day generally starts? If we can get a little insight into your daily professional life.
So my professional day starts at 7:30 in the morning. And that's because we at corporate office work different hours. So at IAG, we prefer 7:30 to 4:30 is how corporate office for IAG in Southwest Asia best functions. But we have very flexible working hours. I have to be honest about that. But for me, what works best is starting at 7:30 in the morning, catching up on my mails. By the time you've got all your mails shooted out, that's when your actual sessions start, which we'll come to in a bit. But now everyone has moved to virtual trainings. So there's the entire day goes through virtual trainings, and I would do about 2 trainings a day, morning one, afternoon the other, then get back to my mails. And at the same time, I have the L&D managers across Southwest Asia. They have a dotted line reporting to me. So then I have their catch-ups, find out how each of our hotel units are doing, their follow-ups. The day for Southwest Asia would end approximately about 6:30. But since we're dynamic and we are IMEA as a region, Dubai, where I have my reporting manager, would then be wanting to probably do a catch up. But we're very flexible with our working hours. I won't say that it's a protocol day, but what my day would usually comprise of is a lot of emails, a lot of meetings, but it's more important about how those meetings get trickled down into effectiveness, analyzing data for our organization, keeping a watch on how our industry is doing, having conversations with my team to make sure that their learning and development is also kept on track along with the entire Southwest Asia. And we like to do what we call brainstorming. So I have a beautiful team put together for that, where we brainstorm on new things and initiatives that we can put in place. So it's not just doing the same humbug every day, but finding new ways to keep people interactive, make learning fun. I always say this, make learning fun. Trainings can be very boring. And I'm a custodian that says that very, very boldly. Trainings can be very boring, and I don't like boring trainings at all. So I like the energy levels to be high of my team. I like to have fun, and you can do it virtually also. We figured that out. We can do it virtually too. So that's what I like of my team, to think of things from a new perspective, from a new dynamic. So a day would be broken up with reports, emails, thinking cap on, analyzing. It would have all of those elements in it at different proportions and percentages.
Wow. You've been there in industry for almost 12 plus years. How do you think this industry has changed with time? You can take three different dimensions: people, process, and product.
People, process, and product. I'll just write that down so I address all of them, the three Ps. Now, the industry has changed a lot. And with the changing times, the industry has developed. The first thing, if you look at the industry, and I know that the students of today may not be able to resonate with it, but when we graduated, the general manager was someone who was always up in the office, very unattainable. You would hardly see the general manager around. And if you saw the general manager, an industrial trainee was never allowed to go speak to the general manager. Now, a general manager is the people's person. Forget about a general manager. When I would go and visit a hotel, I would want to meet not the general manager only. I want to meet the associates on the shop floor because those are the ones that make a difference. So from a people's perspective, the industry has changed where you're very dynamic. Every day is a new learning. So you're more on the shop floor, learning from everyday events. As far as processes are concerned, processes are very, I know, tight, but like initially in back 10 years ago, you couldn't change an SOP very easily. But now standard operating procedures are changing. Take this pandemic as a fine example.
More dynamic.
Yes. So with every situation, you have to be flexible to change it as long as it makes sense. But it doesn't mean that every day you're changing SOPs. But you've got to change with the changing times. And if you don't, then you get left behind as a brand. So processes are definitely in place. The human touch will never ever go away. So even though we're all wearing a mask, the focus is a smile behind the mask. And that's the beauty. I mean, everyone would say smile, and you would only see this part. But now the beauty is that when you smile, and even if you have a mask on, you can see the energy through body language, through facial expressions. You can feel the warmth if a person genuinely shows it. So the processes are now talking more about going back to the basics, keeping the basics in line, but remembering the EQ, the emotional quotient that is involved. And as far as the product is concerned, the industry has developed a lot. You've got a lot of MNCs, I belong to one, but a lot of MNCs have made their benchmarks in the industry. A lot of MNCs have come in. You've got different segments in the market. And that's the beauty of how much the industry has changed, especially for us in India or Southwest Asia. Otherwise, we only knew luxury, but now you've got different segments, and management training programs are not just for a particular brand, it's for the entire IAG or entire Accord. And you could make your path in whichever segment that you think you best fit in. So the industry has become product sensitive, where the idea is that if you have money to spend, we would have a product for you to spend it on. but you just need to tell us what your requirement is, and we'll be able to direct you there. And a lot of MNCs are moving in that direction of making its product flexible for different segments of society according to your needs. So all three have changed.
Very impressive. Trudy, if you were talking about the management training program, if you have to recruit a management trainee, what exactly do you really look for?
Honest answer?
Yeah, very honest. Trade secrets.
Trade secrets. Each person has a very different outlook. And your third year students and even first year students will know that every organization will look for a different set. And it actually depends on the person who's come in. But the basics, the first thing, which is your CV that goes in, and that's your first round of elimination, which I mean your attendance matters because it would play very vital to me. I'm not saying I want you to have 100% attendance because we understand you're human, you fall sick, but your attendance matters because your hard work and honesty and dedication of how much you've put in to invest in yourself in the last 3 years matter. If you've not taken those 3 years seriously, you're not going to take our organization seriously either. So I'm not looking for an extremely bright student with 100% in everything. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for consistency. You could have had not so great scores, but if you've increased your scores, that's what I'm looking for, someone who's dedicated. I would love for you to speak fluently. And when you like it or not, the industry requirement is English. So you have to learn the basics of that language. You have 3 years to do it. So you like it or not, currently you may not speak eloquent English and that doesn't matter. But as long as you make yourself understood from one person to another, the basic requirement, and I would love for you to become a manager, so I would love for you to know the basics of English, at least be comprehensible in your communication. And what I would look for when you sit in front of me is an honest human being, is that you tell me your story the way it is. Honesty is very difficult to find, right?
That's true. Very difficult to judge.
Yeah, the panel over there, we will ask you technical questions, right? So you better know your technicals because if you've not spent those 3 years knowing and studying
that talks about the honesty as well.
Yeah, then if you've spent 3 years not studying that matter, no matter what I try to put inside you, it's not going to fit. So you may turn around and say, do I really need to know the 17 course menu? Yes, you do. Because that is your entry into the organization. And if you've spent 3 years and you've not learned the 17 course menu, then no matter how hard we try, you're not going to make a change. So yes, your basic technicals have to be in place. Your attendance should have the minimum requirement. There should be a progress, but I'm also looking for someone who has that X factor, which means all of these extracurricular activities that you have, and IM gives you the platform to do it, that you've taken the time out to explore, have some fun, do a khadi utsav, do a bar cocktail making competition. I'm not saying you have to be the winner, but give it a try, explore. Have you been the exploring kind? And I'm sure the college gives you many platforms for you to explore and try your own initiatives. So do that. Go for inter-college competitions. Try and represent IEM as a brand, as your college. And the more you do all of that, it shows on your CV. And that will be your entry to your CV still lying on the table. And once you walk in, the CV goes aside and it's all based on the way you walk in, the way you talk, the connect you make. Do you impress me or not? And it's not only through beautiful flowery English. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who's honest, who's willing to show that they're willing to work.
Absolutely, to the point. Trudy, based on your last answer, you spoke about the human touch. With the mechanization, which is extensively happening in today's time in the hotel industry, the dependence on technology has increased. Do you really think it is not going to minimize the human role in hotel industry?
AI, which is artificial intelligence, is fast upon us. And there's no doubt about that. But there's no doubt also that the human touch, which is emotional quotient, will never go away. So no matter how much you put robotics in place to do things, a robot will never understand emotions. And that's the beauty of our industry. And that's what I keep telling all of my L&D managers, that it's not what a person says, it's even what a person doesn't say. So when you sit down to have a conversation with someone, we've learned the art of saying the right things in the right places, but there's also the art of seeing that what goes beyond that. And artificial intelligence will never be able to do that. So yes, there are parts of our industry where we've used AI a lot, revenue, sales, marketing, uh, forecasting, analyzing are beautiful tools. But at the end of the day, they still need a human being to run that. And our industry,
Yes, people will be still ruling that place.
yeah, and our industry at the end of the day is a human touch. Imagine walking into a hotel and not meeting anybody. You walk into a hotel, your key card is lying there, you go to your room and you come back. All right, once in a while that experience is fine. But when you walk into a hotel and you see a big broad smile and someone asking you, how was your day? No matter how tired you are, you smile and say, I had a good day, how was yours? And that's what makes a hotel a hotel. And I've been both sides of the same coin or story. So I work in the hotel, I'm training during the 9 to 6 hours, and then I would eat in the hotel and sleep in the hotel, and they become your mini family. So I've seen it from a guest perspective, and I've seen it from an employee perspective. But from a guest perspective, I can most definitely say that you connect with certain staff. I won't say the entire hotel, who become family. And by the third day or the fourth day, you sit down and they'll bring your orange juice, no ice, no sugar, without even asking you. And then that's when you smile and you look up to that person and you say, thank you. At home, my mom may do that for me, but I don't expect it when you go outside. And that's the beauty that an AI may not be able to do for you. With a warm smile, offer you something. Artificial intelligence is very important, but will not overrule completely any day, not in our industry.
Oh, great. Trudy, this question is going to be in terms of the revenue generation. With the increased cost of hygiene and sanitization in hotels, the cost of operation is most likely to going to go high. You as a part of L&D manager, how are you planning to keep a check on the cost so that it does not really affect the revenue generation much?
So there's a lot of things that are put into protocol during these, especially during this particular pandemic. Now, in the industry, there's a lot of extra frills that are kept around for you. Every organization, along with increased cost, will look at reduction of cost. So you may want to go digital for a lot of things. So for an example, I may have newspapers, but now because of this entire pandemic, I may not want to have newspapers. It is upon request available, but I rather go digital in this aspect. So yes, the investment may be initially a little bit more, but cost reduction is quite big and quite large. And it goes down into the smallest of things. So for an example, a buffet spread right now, with the current pandemic and crisis, nobody wants an entire buffet spread. It's about the quality. So what your guest is looking at is a small spread, but keep it quality. So it's not about the quantity, but it's about the quality. It's about the hygiene standards being offered. I don't think any guest would want the normal spread at the cost of things not being hygienically offered. A guest is willing to spend the same amount of money, but have a safer stay. And that's what we're promising you. The hygiene levels are controlled at many, many different checkpoints. So there's a digital way of doing it through your reports and checks, and then there's a manual way of doing it, which is what the employees do on a day-to-day basis. But what is important from an L&D perspective to understand is that the physical aspects are easy to put in place. For an example, a hand sanitizer or digitally taking someone's temperature, easy to put in place. What is difficult to put in place is the culture, and that takes training. So what I mean is, do I really wash my hands after every meal or after every time I use the washroom? That culture to flow in takes a little time. And that is what the focus of the industry is, of putting the culture in place. Every organization, and IHG has been working on this at a very, very high level. I do trainings every week. Initially, it was every day on the clean implementation for the entire EMEAA globally, how we're going to roll this out. And this training trickles down right down to your associate level. But how effective is that training is what is most important. So we're moving away from the frills, but making sure safety security is of utmost concern, where a guest physical space around them is looked into, and we make sure that a guest feels comfortable in these crises. And one of the most important things that has come up is no matter how much you may sanitize a room, a guest may still come to you and say, can you give me additional sanitizing tools to ensure that I can clean the room myself? And that just puts the guest at ease. Yes, your cost may go up, but remember your guest is at ease. Will your guest come back? The answer is yes. So you have to look at the bigger picture that yes, your cost may go up, but this is life and this is health and security of our people, both our colleagues, our guests, our investors. So it's very, very important that you look at it, yes, from a revenue aspect, but you've got to put in a little to get back a lot, and making sure that all our guests, internal and external, are at ease is our topmost priority right now. And I think should be for everyone in the industry.
Great, which means that the cost somehow is going to be managed, because if not this side, some other part, the cost is going to be reduced, like buffet you spoke about and stuff. And the revenue, yes, is somewhere where hotel has to a bit compromise, seeing the current situation.
Revenue for the entire, I think hospitality as an industry, travel and tourism as an industry, whatever we had budgeted for on the 1st of January 2020 is not the same. So with the change of times,
absolutely.
you've got to think on your feet and move with the time. So are you moving with the time? The answer should be yes. But every department, irrespective of revenue, sales, housekeeping, marketing, no matter which department you come from, every department is looking at revenue generation and cost reduction. Those two are primary, I think, even beyond pandemic. A great GM is someone who knows how to increase revenue and decrease cost. A great HOD is somebody who knows how to increase revenue and decrease cost. And all of us can do it in every department. It's not just one department specific. So every department has a role to play.
Fully said. What kind of opportunities Intercontinental Hotel provides to the freshers? If you can also highlight the individual's growth pattern and their progression plan with the group.
So every group has their own management training program, right? But for a student who's passing out, there are many options you have. You have a management training program that every organization would like to offer you. Beyond that, they would also have another program, which would be a fast track program, but not an assistant manager. They would have another program like that. And then they also have people who can join at the entry level. It depends on which pathway you eventually choose, right? Now, if you take up a management training program, it means approximately in 12 to 18 months, you become an assistant manager. If you take up another path, which would be not to become an assistant manager, but a supervisor, that may take you around about another year to 18 months. Some places even say for 24 months. And then you can join as an executive or an associate. Now, whatever your path or whatever foot gets you into the industry, that's just your stepping stone. So don't take it for granted that if I've joined as a management training program, that the organization after 18 months is going to graduate you. It's a give and a take. And you have to work really, really hard in those 18 months. I have seen people who have joined as associates and grow faster than some management trainees. I have also seen IIG has a fine example of a management trainee who's currently heading, now she's no more a manager trainee, but she's heading our Holiday Inn Express in Bangalore and Yashwantpur. And that's a beautiful success story there. But it completely depends on each individual. And each one's path is very, very different. The management training path may seem the fastest way to your success, but comes at a lot of hard work and a lot of time. An executive program or a supervisor program will take you longer to get there. It means you need to prove yourself over a longer period of time. But no one can really stop you from achieving your goal. As far as the industry is concerned, all organizations are offering management training programs, supervisory programs, and even at an entry level. So you need to know what you want to achieve and just make sure you get there.
Rightly said, the reward, career reward depends on the delivery of an individual. What is going to be your advice for the students who are in third year of their studies, and what things they should keep in mind, how they should prepare, and what they think they should be doing so that they can get into that position?
So there are a lot of things that you can do. One is keep a very close eye on the industry. Find out what the industry is currently doing. We have industrial training programs. You can also go out and help out with hotels whenever they have high occupancy. But it's about staying in touch with the organization, knowing what they're doing. Like ma'am had said earlier, behavior or attitude is a very, very important thing. Your marks, your scores will get you a seat at the table, but making sure you stay at the table, that's where your attitude comes into place. And having that attitude of no matter what the circumstances, I will think on my feet. Today is a bad day for me, but when I walk into work, do I have the capacity to say show on? And that's something that normally a lot of people don't know, but something I very commonly use in my training. The hospitality industry is a lot like theater. So no matter what your mood is, the moment you punch in into that biometric system and it says you're clocked in, it's showtime. Because when you go in, forget your emotions, forget, you may have had a tire puncture, you may have had a fight at home. But when you come into work, it's about depicting and making sure you are your happiest and your best self. Because if you are not, you cannot deliver that day. So if you're feeling really, really down, you need to know how to pick yourself up. You need to refocus. And more importantly, I think is self motivation. And that's the easiest way for me to explain it. Self motivation, very, very important. The world can tell you you are great. But until you don't look into the mirror and say, I know I'm good, it's not going to work for you. So that self motivation, that thinking out of the box, be a good listener, another very innate quality that I think hoteliers need to have, because it's all about the talking, but then who's doing the listening? And I love people who sit back and listen, be analytical, think before you speak, make sure what you speak makes sense, because you like it or not, you're being watched. And everything that you say, someone's listening to you and you're inspiring somebody. So whenever you're speaking, think of the repercussions that it has. So the attitude is really, really important. That will take you very, very far in life. Nobody wants a leader who comes to work looking depressed every day. Nobody wants a leader who doesn't have answers. So a leader needs to be knowledgeable. A leader needs to have high EQ, which is emotional quotient. A leader to me needs to think on their feet. So those are qualities that I would suggest you just start practicing from now in your own different ways.
What is, Trudy, in the same line, I would like to know, what is the role of an effective communication and sound knowledge, most sincere attitude for budding professionally, you already have spoken about. What is the importance and significance of an effective communication?
Perfect. I'll take all three one at a time. Communication is as good as breathing. And this is where we all get it so incorrect, because everyone can communicate. But it's very important that you think of how are you communicating and does that really make sense? So communication primarily in our industry is English when you're talking to your guest, but communication in whichever language you may be speaking, you need to ensure that whoever you're speaking to, which I call the receiver of your comment, understands it the same way that you meant to say it. And if there's a gap between the two, both of us have to be on the same level. So communication, very, very important. Communication causes the most amount of disasters when you miscommunicate. It causes a lot of confusion if you haven't communicated clearly. So one of the key aspects of a good leader is someone who communicates in all directions, both with your leader and with your team, with your fellow colleagues. As far as knowledge is concerned, you can't fake it. You need to have the knowledge. So you may get away once, you may get away twice, but your team by the third time would know that you're faking the answer. So knowledge is very, very important if you ever plan to climb the ladder. And it's okay sometimes to say, I don't know. That's the beauty of our industry, that you may be the leader of people who are chronologically born before you. So they, yes, they may be older than you. They may have more experience than you, but you can have efficiency and you can have knowledge. And our industry is becoming so dynamic that I think most of our leaders have team members who were in the industry before them and still may report to them. That's absolutely fine. But knowledge is something you should never fake. Be genuine about it. And if you don't know the answer, this is one thing that I learned in college. If you don't know the answer, say you don't know, but always come back with the right answer. And I always had that of saying, I don't know, but I would take 15 minutes, find out the answer, go back into that interview room, knock on the door and say, FYI, this is the correct answer. Thank you for asking me. So that is very, very important, that if you don't know, seek the answer. And now technology has made it so easy. So there's nothing that you shouldn't know, but at the same time, there's a lot of knowledge out there. So you have to get your hands on the correct answer. And the last one being attitude. I used to have a t-shirt when I was really young and it said, I think attitude is everything. I still believe it, quite true. I still think attitude is everything, but it comes with a complete package of knowledge, communication, and attitude.
Oh, greatly answered. You spoke about the technology. As far as the modern students are concerned, they are extensively onto the social media and into the tech. How would you advise them to use it for their better learning and development?
Wonderful. We're all currently sitting and doing a virtual session right now. I'm not too sure how many students we have, and I would have loved to have an interactive session with them, probably some other time. We'll plan that out.
We'll open the house in another few minutes for the students.
Awesome. We will open house then. So right now, use technology to your benefit. The industries are trying to curtail and be more flexible for the millennials. So you will find companies having Facebook accounts and all of that. But I would highly recommend all of you to have a LinkedIn profile because that is a professional platform. Follow leaders, and I keep saying this, follow leaders who you think will give you a stepping stone into the industry in terms of not just give you a job, but many a times I would put up maybe a position that is vacant, but it gives everyone the opportunity to see what skill set are we looking for. You can be a first year student, you can be a second year student, you can be a third year student, but you can start preparing from now, looking at what skill set are we asking a director F&B, what we're asking a supervisor of F&B. And when you know that this is the pathway I want to take, you start developing yourself there. So I would highly recommend LinkedIn for sure. I learned it a few years ago myself that you didn't really have to send a connect to the person, you could also follow the person. So there are a lot of industry leaders that you can follow to be updated with what's going on in the industry. And I would highly recommend that you start making your social media platform a little professional too. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, great fun. All industries are there. But on a professional level, I would say keep a very close eye to see how the industry is dynamically globally. And there are professional platforms for that.
All right. So which means technology does not mean only TikTok and Snapchat. They have to be also be aware of, absolutely, about the LinkedIn, and they should be knowing how to use them professionally. Trudy, this question is about, you've been serving this industry for past 13 years. How do you think this industry has rewarded you? What you have earned out of this industry? Let's talk about the gifts, the biggest gifts or the rewards you have received out of this industry for your hard work.
The list is never ending, but if I had to choose, the biggest thing on my list are the people. The teams that I've had have been the biggest blessings in my life. The mentors, the leaders, the people that I've come in touch with. Laurels come, I won't say no, that's a part of the process, but it's the people that matter the most. And being a learning and development professional, I have to say I've learned most from the people around me. And you can be in a training room and you can be the trainer, but every training is so different because the people change. And every person has a story. It's the people of this industry that have allowed me to be who I am, or who have encouraged me to be who I am. And to many, many of them, I know who have turned around and told me, go for it, I've got your back. So to all of the people I've ever worked with, and that list is never ending, from mentors to colleagues to some awesome friends that I have. But my biggest and greatest gift has been the people. And I'm not much of the socialing kind, but I'm much of the people kind. I prefer people who are humble, who are honest. And that's one thing that the industry has taught me, that keep your eyes on the stars and go for it, but remember to keep your feet on the ground and stay grounded, because we've all had our stories and we've all come from somewhere. So the biggest gift, I will say, hands down, has been the people that I've worked with, the teams that I've had the pleasure to know, and our family to me as of right now. So they're family, they're not even people, they're family.
Oh, great. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ms. Trudy Hart with us, Learning and Development Manager for Intercontinental Hotel Group. Without waiting, we'll open the house for the question answer. Students, you can unmute yourself. You can go ahead and ask question.
Now, I know some of you will be really shy, but go for it. You can unmute and ask a question. No question is a stupid question. Believe me on that one. No question is a stupid question. Go ahead and ask. And I promise you there's going to be no repercussions for asking any questions whatsoever. So let's have some fun and ask some questions and go ahead. Don't think twice. Are they asking it directly to me on the chat box, or are they asking it to you?
Ask you directly.
They will directly ask you.
He'll ask you directly.
Perfect.
Tushar, I can see you are ready.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, Trudy, ma'am. It's really an honor to meet you, ma'am, finally, because as you said, following on the professional social media outlets, so I have just joined LinkedIn recently, and I followed whatever you have been doing. So, ma'am, that's a great honor for me to know and meet you finally. So, ma'am, I have a particular question pertaining to the recent development that happened at one of your hotel properties, which is in Greater Noida, the Crown Plaza. Ma'am, the Crown Plaza became a first property, I believe, in South Asia that will host an educational institute for a long term. Ma'am, can you please tell us about how it came to happen? Because it's a really fascinating story.
So, Tushar, first and foremost, it's my honor to finally meet you. I think it works both ways. No, absolutely does. And I will look forward to seeing your glorious story one fine day and log in for your talk. But thank you so much for following and staying connected. Stay connected on LinkedIn, even post this. As far as the Greater Noida tie-up is concerned, now officially, there's only so much that I can say. But yes, it has been one of a kind. It's been a tie-up that's taken quite some time. I have to say that is unit specific. So all kudos goes to the general manager, Mr. Nair there, and the entire team. The learning journey there after that is going to be one of a kind. It's going to be something that has never happened in the region before. So I would suggest that you buckle up, hold on, wait for some more information, because there's not so much that I can tell you about it till they officially launch it. But yes, the learning journey is going to be, and we're partnering in that learning journey as a Crown Plaza at Greater Noida. We're partnering in that learning journey. So we're looking forward to it from a new perspective, because everything has changed from a learning perspective. You're not sitting in a classroom, and we're not doing this face-to-face in a classroom, but we're still doing it face-to-face. So the learning journey is going to be a very unique one. There's a lot of information that you can read about it on social media, but we leave it to the organization to tell you more details about that, because there's only so much that I can say.
Thank you, ma'am. If I may, ma'am, I have a second question.
Sure, go ahead.
Yes, you can go ahead.
Ma'am, my question is related to the happiness part. Ma'am, as I know that you are a certified happiness coach, and that's one particular method that you have followed, that is Berkeley's method of well-being. Ma'am, can you please tell us that how is it helpful in the hospitality industry to impart the happiness factor all around the employees, the employers, so that there can be a thorough coordination, not only from a general professional point of view, but as an as you were saying, emotional quotient point of view. How did it come about? And can you please tell us something about that method?
All right. So happiness begins with you, right? So if I have to say, are you happy today? That's a very rhetorical question. But happiness begins with you, right? Are you happy to be asking this question? Because all of us can see you currently on screen, and the answer should be yes, right? You should be happy because you're getting those couple of minutes. But happiness is contagious. Happiness is also very spiral. So if you get up in the morning and you feel you're not in a great mood, you are in control of your own happiness. And it means that you can switch your own little switch on the top and move from not such a good mood to a very, very good mood. So your happiness is in your own control. Moving on to happiness with the people around you, it comes from your energy levels. You can't fake happiness. That's the sad part. You can't fake happiness. If you're having a bad day, you're having a bad day. But you can switch that bad day into a good day. Happiness is energy levels, it's body language, it's through someone's smile, it's through eye contact, and that's happiness around you. It's something as simple as, and this is an industry secret, is your back of the house as happy as the front of the house? Because in the front of the house, everyone is very glamorous, conducting themselves with a big smile. But if you walked into the back of the house, if I wished you, would you wish me back? Do we have those same energy levels? And that's why I keep saying it's very difficult to move from one mood to the next. It takes a little time. So your back of the house is as important as the front of the house, and the environment at the back of the house is very important. So one fun thing that I do, and I think I'll say it on this call, but I love to run around in my hotels at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the night, because I stay in the hotel when I'm doing audits and training, run around and wish people and see if they wish me back. And that tells me the happiness quotient to a very large extent of a hotel. But I think people are the ones that make a difference. Maya Angelou says a very famous quote that says, people will never forget how you made them feel. They'll forget what you did or what you said, but they will never ever forget how you made them feel. And that's happiness quotient. So I am not so good with names, but I'm awesome with faces, and I remember stories. So now that I've met you, if we meet 3 years from now, Tushar, I'm saying it in advance. I may not remember your name, and I apologize much in advance, but I'll be able to tell you that we met over a WebEx because it was digital, and we talked about a question you had asked me, and I think it most likely will be related to happiness. So each one has a story, and it's this moment now where you have that connect that keeps the relationship alive. So that's happiness, and happiness is inward. Happiness is not outward. So before you think of spreading happiness, look inward and see, are you happy? And if the answer is no, please don't try spreading it, because you're going to spread negativity. So the smallest of things matter for happiness, and people don't know this, but the food you eat, the exercise, and the company you keep is very, very important in your happiness. Gratitude is a big, big quotient, and I love asking this question to everyone. So think about it. When was the last time you said thank you to someone?
I do.
You do? When was the last time you said thank you to someone?
Ma'am, I say my mom. Actually, ma'am, I have to say, this was not in my habit. Even a few years back, I wouldn't say thank you for most of the people. But over the last 1 year, 1.5 year being at IAM, and just before that, I certainly developed and looked around, and I realized that how lucky I was to be here and to have all the people around me. So, ma'am, after that, I started this habit, and this has really developed into something, ma'am, like I feel it's an innate part of me. So that is how I do it, ma'am.
Very good. So if all of you, I'm sure you've started reading books, but if you've read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Frank and Covey, one of the attitudes that I always stand by is gratitude. And the beauty of gratitude, and I've never been able to wrap my head around this, do you do it for the other person and you say thank you, but in that moment you feel so overwhelmed. Something as simple as, and I said this today, when I saw ma'am come on screen, her pressure was on, but it mattered so much that she was there after so many years. And that's a gratitude. And even though I'll say thank you back to her, in that moment you feel nice because I've seen her after so long. So gratitude is a two-way street. So keep practicing that more often. But that's the happiness quotient that I follow.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Disha.
Can we have others come up and ask question?
Anyone else? I promise I don't bite, I don't yell, I don't scream.
And we are not charging anyone for this.
Go ahead and ask any question. No question is a not so wise question. But if you have any questions.
Masters, let us hear it from you. Open up.
Good evening, ma'am.
You're just about a week old. Open up now.
We have Saket, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, Saket, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So first of all, it's a great opportunity. Like I have started my journey today only from IM, and I'm seeing Miss Trudy on screen. So it's a very big opportunity for me. Like in a very first day, I'm getting this type of trainings. So, ma'am, there's a little question from a first year student, like how to develop as a personality of a hotelier in growing stages like pandemic.
It's the best stage to learn in because everyone's gone back to the basics. Everyone has gone back to the basics. As far as a person is concerned and your personal development, you will find a lot of people available and willing to talk. You'll find a lot of people right now have even started to do recommendations for each other on LinkedIn, or they're taking the time out to have a work-life balance and understand what that's all about. Something as simple as in these crises, or in this time of crisis, it's a learning. But one thing about the hospitality industry is it always bounces back. And like I initially said, I graduated in a year where economically was not very great. So economy had dropped, but it bounced back and we all are where we are. So one thing that you will learn from this is people's success stories. Success stories don't happen overnight. It's difficult times that give you success stories. And one of the things I always say, and it's a beautiful saying, the author is unknown, but it says uncertainty is the spotlight that reveals your leadership. So in these crises, it's actually giving you a platform or a stage to shine. You can either shine or you can either drop really, really bad, but it gives you the platform to showcase. So you will find a lot of success stories. You'll find a lot of innovation coming about because everyone's wanting to do things differently. This is the best time to learn from the things that are going on in the industry because there are new unique concepts coming about. People are changing. History is changing as we speak. So things are not like how they used to be on the 1st of January. Everything's changed. The whole industry has changed. So yes, smile is still important, but now we're teaching you how to smile behind a mask. So with this time, it's a development time. So there's a learning every day. And when you learn through a tough time, it can't get tougher than that. So it's the best time to learn, actually. It's the best time to develop who you are.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome, Saket.
Before any other students ask any questions, I would like to share something which was very, very special to me. It's a special incident which happened. As Trudy shared, I'm very fond of keeping tab of my students even after they leave the institute. I keep following what they are doing, even if I don't talk to them regularly. But I love to know where they are. So when Trudy had joined as a management trainee with the McDonald's, and I was hearing that because we had a lot of faith in her abilities, and I knew that she would be, in a very short time, she would be a superstar there. And the news was coming back that yes, she's leading from the front and things are really going good. A lot of extra responsibilities are being given. And then bang, one day there was a blast in Park Street, just, I think, in the McDonald's, in the shop floor where she was working. And I think Trudy was there. Yes, Trudy, were you there?
I was on shift.
Yeah, she was on shift. And my first reaction, it came on the news, and then I wanted to find out where is she, and then I started, contacting, but no messages. And that one incident, everything was going hunky-dory, and it was moving in a very positive way. One blast changed the path of her life. I don't know whether Trudy will feel that. I think it has changed the direction. That day, and maybe 1 month from that day of the blast, I think things were pretty bleak, as in suddenly the outlet did not exist. McDonald's after some time withdrew, and then the people who were posted in those outlets, they were not given any other they had said that they will take them to Varanasi and other places, right?
Yes,
And they would replace them, but it did not happen. But it was a bad moment. If you are at that time going through it, it was a bad moment. I remember meeting Trudy on the pavement outside an hospital. And then we talked, things changed. And from that moment, imagine suddenly everything is going great, and overnight you become almost jobless without knowing that where would I go now. And today, within another 13 years, building yourself to this position, I think it is a tremendous amount of
Commendable.
positivity. And another most important thing which should be there in everybody, why I said this, that any moment your life can change. Life is so unpredictable. In one split second, it can change, but it is not over. You are given another chance and multiple chance to restart your journey. And look, I was just thinking now, had she continued with McDonald's, maybe she would have become the operations. They have those positions, operation supervisor, and and then it becomes something like that. In really, you manage group outlets, and you become the regional head. That incident had changed the direction of her life, and I think for the better. So all challenges, I'm very fond of saying this, all challenges, all setbacks, there is a purpose to it. And it may, you look at it positively, life is waiting for you to find your new way out. I think that's what I had to say, because this was an example which I'll never forget. And I remember that she has taken it very positive. It was, the way the organization, I wouldn't mention it here, the things didn't work out well and not to our expectation, but the thing was a total turnaround. And I think everyone should expect this in life, because things may change overnight and you should be prepared. But there are two ways of looking at it. Just now, she was saying that you can have a bad day and you can crib about it. You can say that, okay, you are having a pandemic and you can, oh, life is so bad, or you can use it for learning and developing, because this time we don't get the time that we are getting in the pandemic. We are getting much more time to develop ourselves, relook at ourselves, and introspect. I think that is very, very important. So everything that happens gives you a new opportunity. Remember that. Never forget that. Sorry, Trudy, I just had to barge. I just remembered that.
I still remember having that cup of tea with you outside, and you looked at me and you gave me a hug and you said, everything's going to be fine. And I said, yeah, I know everything's going to be fine. I remember that. And we are here today. And I do honestly believe in this, that everything in your life happens for a reason. You don't understand it in that moment, and that's okay. But look at it from a positive aspect and know what you want to do. And as long as you have the right output, the right thought process, you'll get there. The path will change, but you will get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Your focus should not waver. Your path may change, but you have to go to the destination. If you have to reach Delhi, you will reach Delhi, but you can take via Patna, you can take via Gaya, whatever way you go, but you will reach your destination. Train may stop in between, you have to get down, go to another train, but that's part of life. That makes life so interesting.
Absolutely.
Students, any more questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Can I tell? Yes, ma'am. My name is Rohit. Very good afternoon to you. I'm from first year. I want to ask that, ma'am, Actually, I just stepped in this industry few weeks ago, so I want to understand that learning and development department. I don't know about it, so just want to know what we have to do on that department.
The first thing I will tell you, Rohit, is smile. And then the world becomes a better place. But yes, learning and development is, I say we're blessed to be L&D professionals because we get to be the mirror for people and show you the potential that you have. The beauty is that everyone has potential, but everyone's potential is not the same and everyone is built differently. And what the learning and development will do is that they will bring out the best within you. So I keep telling this to all of my L&D managers that the first thing you need to do is look into the mirror and say you're worth it and know your value. As a leader, you get to change people's lives. You get to change people's moods. Going deeper into L&D and what we do, there's a lot of dynamics. So there's brand standards. So how to ensure, and each brand has their own standards. IAG has multiple brands, but each brand has its own brand standards. So making sure that the right brand standards flow in. We have leadership development programs. So making sure that you are not only growing personally, but professionally also. Making sure that you're ready for the position. So every brand grows. And the beauty of a brand that when you grow, your people should grow with you. And that's what a learning and development professional will want to do. So you've got learning and development will look after a brand segment, making sure quality is in place. So yes, when a guest walks in, I've had a beautiful experience the first time. Will I have the same experience the second time? I've walked into one Holiday Inn or one Crown Plaza or one Holiday Inn Express, but when I walk into another one of the same brand, will I experience the same kind of service? So the consistency is something that L&D will also step in for. But the beauty of it all is we're like a mirror. We show you that you have the potential and everyone has the potential. So Rohit, today you may not know your potential and as time grows, you will get to know yourself a lot more. But the first thing that you've done is that you've decided what you wanted to do and you've chosen a path for yourself. So that's the right step that you're taking. And what a learning and development professional will do is will help you on that journey for you to be more successful. That's what we do.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Rohit. Anyone else?
Are we there, guys? I think everybody is so convinced. Ma'am, you would like to say a few things before we finally wrap up?
I think I've already said all that I wanted to say. I just can't stop myself. You know,
Final adios.
No, I think the journey of Trudy, which we shared today, should be an inspiration for everybody. And
Absolutely.
as you know, you can expect that life is not going to be a smooth one. It's going to be a roller coaster, and that's why riding on a roller coaster is so much of fun. No, otherwise, you know, who wants that boring same thing every day? So be prepared, and I think learning and development will be your first encounter with the industry. Actually, the Department of Learning and Development will be your first encounter into the professional industry when you actually appear for your industrial training interviews. And that's where the journey begins of a hotelier. You step into the professional world of the hotel through the training department, and then you understand how the training department shapes you and makes you ready for the guest handling and the rest of it. And that is exactly what the learning development does. And as Trudy just mentioned, it was about standardization. If you move from one property to another, the consistency, the same standard of service should be maintained. And that is exactly what you do when you buy maybe a Cadbury from the outside shop for 25 rupees. You all know what kind of taste you're going to expect. It's not that one Cadbury pack will be different from the other. all of that 25 rupees pack coming in the same shape will be tasting the same quality. And that is what learning and development does. And Trudy has done a remarkable job, and she has shaped the lives of so many, and we're extremely proud of her journey. And we hope to stay connected in sessions like this. I know she travels awfully lot. She's more of stepping in and out of hotels, and we would love to do some follow-up sessions as well. Trudy, what about you?
Absolutely. This has been the first one for me, and I'm glad that I'm doing it for IAM. I have to say, I thought about it. I agree. I'm always traveling, but we can always make the time for that. We make the most of pandemic and make the most of me sitting with my office at home. So definitely, please feel free to reach out. More importantly, I had to say big congratulations for the Z Award, Education Award. I saw that and I said, congratulations. That was a very, very big achievement, and it was lovely to see you receiving the award, ma'am, on behalf of everybody. But congratulations on that.
It's my
And
first award.
it's everyone's award, and I love the fact that all of us had a part to play in it. But it's a big achievement, and I know that that was a very, very big award to receive. So congratulations to you all and all of the faculties that are continuing to do the amazing work that you all are doing.
Trudy, did you check with ma'am when is the
party?
seat being offered?
I know what she's going to say.
Yeah,
She's going to say, come down to Calcutta first. But yeah, you should definitely.
Honestly, thank you, Trudy, for. Yeah, absolutely. We will. Let the session get over. We'll catch ma'am tomorrow.
I've said this to him before.
It's been a lovely.
Honestly, thank you, Trudy.
15 minutes. But for all the students, in case they do have questions and you want to catch up again sometime, I'm happy to reschedule and do this sometime again, maybe on a different topic. Happy to extend whatever knowledge little bit I have, and happy to be there in whatever extent that I can. But thank you so much for the platform.
Thank you for spending your valuable time and sharing your opinion with us. Sure, your advices will go a long way in making these budding professionals bloom. We wish you luck, and we'll catch very soon.
See you all. Take care. Have a lovely week and an amazing Monday.
And you take care.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All the very best, students. Bye-bye. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye. Thank you, ma'am.
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 Bye, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.